What's up, everybody? Welcome back to D's Corner. I'm your host, D. We're going to continue on with our off-season outlook free agency edition. This video, we're going to touch on the AFC South. But before we get into that, there was some breaking news earlier. Just as I got ready to start shooting, the Browns have made a trade with the Broncos for Jerry Jeudy, giving up a 2024 fifth and sixth round pick. I just got done shooting the AFC North, and a wide receiver was one of the things that I felt that the Browns needed. I thought with this being a heavy draft class, that they would possibly go that route. But I actually like the Jerry Jeudy trade, especially what you have to give up. I would have to give that grade for the Browns a B. And for the Broncos, I'm thinking a C or D. This was a first-round wide receiver. And there was talks during the trade deadline that he was possibly could have been had for a third. But to get him for a fifth and sixth, I mean, I guess you got something for him. But what will those picks truly mean or truly be able to do? Maybe there are some lower level receivers or something that you come in. Sean Payton is completely rebuilding that Broncos team. But this video is not about the AFC West. It's not about the AFC North. It's about the AFC South. So to start, we're going to go with the worst team in the AFC South last year, and that was the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee Titans are going to need offensive line help. They're going to need wide receiver help. They're going to need a running back because they are going to move forward without Derrick Henry. This is the first year, I think, in the last 8 seasons that they will have to be replacing the running back position. There is not a comparable running back to Derrick Henry. He is as big as a defensive end, can run like a defensive end, and this guy is enormous. So obviously moving into a youth movement is where the Tennessee Titans are going. And as you'll see throughout this video, actually 3 of the 4 teams are going to be heading that route, with the Texans, the Titans, and the Colts having a good bit of money, all operating off of a rookie quarterback. Jacksonville, not so much. But Tennessee, we are going to need to build around Will Levis. We're going to have to go out and get us some offensive line. This is a place where I could see Jonah Williams coming in to be their left tackle. Could also see them bringing in Mekhi Becton from the New York Jets to play their right tackle. Even possibly guard. This guy is a big-time mauler. If you go back to his time at Louisville when he was coming out of the draft, he just hasn't really been able to stay healthy. You get Will Levis, who has shown flashes. He's made some plays. He does have a rocket for an arm. He's an athletic, bigger guy. Get him some playmakers. Get him some playmakers. Let's see what he does. And if it doesn't work out, then next offseason you can get your new head coach to have the opportunity to get his guy. I could see this team trading for T. Higgins if he's not re-signed by the Cincinnati Bengals. I definitely see this team surrounding Will Levis with weapons. This is an offensive-minded head coach now and they're shifting from a defensive-minded head coach with Vrabel. Is their defensive philosophy going to change? Are they going to shift from a 3-4 to a 4-3? They do need secondary help throughout the entire secondary. If you're not tracking, they traded Kevin Byard to the Philadelphia Eagles, who he is a free agent. I don't see him coming back. The Tennessee Titans have $75 million to spend. They have the funds to build around Will Levis. There's talks of Brock Bowers wanting to go and play with the Tennessee Titans. Me, obviously, being a Colts fan, I would not like to see that. However, if that's the route that they go, that's the route that they go. But for the Tennessee Titans, you have to build around your young quarterback. You have to make sure that you have the team that you want around him. That way, if he's not your guy, being an offensive-minded coach, and this being his rookie first time being a head coach, if he's not able to succeed with Will Levis, like I said, you can possibly go to the draft next year or even get you a stopgap quarterback until you're able to identify who your guy is moving forward. So for the Tennessee Titans, offensive line, offensive weapons, obviously a running back. This is a team that I could see because of Tajay Spears as running back. He's more of a flash, more lightning. Maybe you get your thunder in AJ Dillon. Maybe you get your thunder in Zach Moss. These are lower level running backs who will give you the opportunity to have production on the field and not break the bank. So that I could see them definitely building up with cost-friendly players. I don't see the Tennessee Titans as a team that just spins. Actually, none of these teams really have been that in the past. I don't see that changing, but I definitely know that the Tennessee Titans need to build around their young rookie, or going into his first year, their young quarterback, Will Levis. All right, the next team we're going to talk about is those Jacksonville Jaguars. This team has been nothing but a roller coaster since Trevor Lawrence has gotten there. Some, like Nick Wright on FS1, compare him to Peyton Manning 2.0. That's not the case, but he is a talented guy. He does have his issues. There has been talks, before about football necessarily not being the most important thing to him, which that to me is fine. I mean, it's your job. It's not who you are. But they'll have to pick up his fifth-year option or get ready to pay him, as well as his running mate, Travis Etienne. Calvin Ridley could potentially come back. They have $24-25 million worth of cap space. They restructured Brandon Sheriff, their guard, but they did re-sign Ezra Cleveland. So they are trying to keep some of their players to continue to build. They released Darius Williams, Rashad Jenkins, so they'll have to go secondary in this upcoming draft. Quinyon Mitchell is a corner that has been mocked to them. Again, somebody I don't want to have to see based off what I've seen on him, and you'll see in future videos when we do mock drafts that I'm really, really high on Quinyon Mitchell out of Tulane. But the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to be a team, in my opinion, that still just comes with the confusion. This team can look like it's going to dominate the AFC South, and then they plummet. And it's baffling. It's really confusing. It's like I said, it's really just baffling. If I was a Jaguars fan, I would be extremely pissed because this has been one of the weaker divisions in football. The Texans haven't had a quarterback outside. They just drafted their guy. Titans really haven't had anything outside of Derrick Henry. The Colts haven't had anything outside of Andrew Luck. And these teams are now, like I said, operating off of a rookie salary cap when it comes to the quarterback position. So they're able to spin and they're able to build around these teams, around these quarterbacks. And these teams as a whole, I believe, have more than what the Jacksonville Jaguars have. I would not be shocked if Jacksonville was last or second to last in this division come the end of the season. I would not be shocked if Jacksonville does not make the playoffs. I do not think that Jacksonville is ready. I don't know what it is. I just don't see them getting over the hump. They should have been. They did tear a lot of stuff down, getting rid of some of the guys, Jalen Ramsey, but that was years ago. This team has an established quarterback, established quarterback as well as an established coach. All the other teams are coming with rookie quarterbacks or rookie head coaches. Last year, the Titans and the Colts both had both. This year, the Titans, they'll have a rookie coach with a first-year quarterback. The Titans and the Colts, first-year coach, first-year quarterback. So we are a division that shouldn't be up for grabs. This should be the Jacksonville Jaguars division. And for some reason, it has not been. It has not been. Now, do they go out and try to get or trade for some players? Marshawn Lattimore comes to mind of the New Orleans Saints. They are talking about trading him, and the Saints are in a cap situation where they may need to get rid of some of their players. L'Jarius Sneed. Could they trade for L'Jarius Sneed? They're going to need another cornerback opposite Tyson Campbell, and they're going to need another safety opposite of Andre Cisco. The linebacking core is pretty decent. The defensive front is pretty decent. I just don't think that this team has what it takes, whatever that may be. And I'm not knocking the coach, the players, or anything. I just feel like this team as a whole just doesn't have that to them for them to get over the hump, in my humble opinion. Our next team that we're going to talk about is my team, the Indianapolis Colts. This was almost a playoff team with a backup quarterback. We did lose Anthony Richardson. We have our offensive line is solid with players that we've already had. I could see us attempting to restructure some guys, maybe Brandon Smith or Braden Smith, maybe Ryan Kelly, just to get us a little more cap relief after taking that big hit when we had to tag Michael Pittman. But you need to keep him there for Anthony Richardson. Watching the draft, they spoke to the general manager and the general manager Chris Ballard, and Chris Ballard said that Anthony Richardson is further along than they had already hoped. So he's further along in his recovery to the point where they're going to try to reel him back in a little bit, because you saw what happened with Andrew Luck. You don't want to go and get your young guy, put the weight of the organization on him, and allow him to get hurt and doing some of the things that they do. This year, I hope that we kind of limit his running to maybe goal line area where we're able to have it focused on Jonathan Taylor, and then, quick RPO, things of that nature. I hope that he's able to mature. He did need playing time. That was his issue coming out of college. He didn't have a lot of playing time. The kid has all of the talent in the world, with a huge frame, athleticism. He's fast, and he's got a rocket for an arm. So he can make some of those plays that we've seen the NFL transition to when it comes to some of these quarterbacks. We'll see what happens. We'll see where it goes. We'll see what they do. I definitely see us coming out of the draft with at least one, possibly two wide receivers, as well as a cornerback or two, depending on what we do with Kenny Moore. Kenny has played well for us. I just don't think that he fits the scheme that Gus Bradley wants to run, or that Gus Bradley does run. He likes the more longer corners. Julius Brents played pretty well, and Jalen Jones played decent. We did have Dallas Flowers, who was gone with an Achilles. We'll see if they bring him back or possibly release him. I could definitely see us going with a tight end as well. We had some injuries. I imagine Mo Alley-Cox is going to get released. He does have a somewhat bigger cap hit, and he wasn't a football guy. He was a basketball player, and he's played decent. He has played decent, but we're going to need a security blanket. I would love for us to be able to take Brock Bowers out of the University of Georgia. I think having a young quarterback, your tight end is his best friend, and we are going to need to find him his best friend. Michael Pittman is a hell of a ball player. We have Josh Downs, who was coming along, but last year was his rookie year. So how will he step up? Alec Pierce. Now it's time to see what are we going to get out of you? Are you going to step up and make the consistent plays, or are you going to get open, get hit in the hands, and drop the ball? I mean, that just seems to be an issue that he has had. It's not all the time, but it seems like it comes at the worst time. And secondary and defensively, where Grover Stewart is a free agent, as well as Julian Blackman. We do have Nick Cross, Rodney Thomas. I personally think we would probably have to overhaul that safety position. You don't want to have so many young guys. I think Justin Simmons could be a ball player for us, a fantastic ball player for us in that secondary, and bring some of those young guys, some of those younger guys along. We have roughly $50 million after the franchise tag. Most likely we'll get a contract done with Michael Pittman. I saw, and I want to know how you guys feel, so make sure y'all chat it up down there. What are your thoughts on the wide receiver position? Is it going the route of the running back? I don't mean is it becoming obsolete. What I mean is in this draft, I think Mel Kiper has 26 of his top 50 are wide receivers. There's been talks of 10 to 12 of the wide receivers being first round talents. Look at the free agency class of wide receivers as well. Are we going to consistently pay good, dependable wide receivers, such as Michael Pittman? Are you going to pay them what you're paying a Tyreek Hill, what you're paying a AJ Brown, what Justin Jefferson's going to make, what Jamar Chase is going to make? He's not that type of wide receiver. However, he's a pretty good wide receiver for what we need. But there are other players out there. This is a loaded draft class. Could we do a tag and trade? I don't think so. I think that Chris Ballard and Jim Irsay, they like to pay their players, the ones who represent the organization and the ones who are about the team. So I definitely think that Michael Pittman will get a contract offer. Will he accept it or not? Will he kind of force the Colts' hands for them to do a tag and trade? We'll see. We've been linked to L'Jarius Sneed now. If we're able to come out of this offseason with a L'Jarius Sneed as well as some weapons, I, as a Colts fan, would be extremely, extremely happy. We had a lot of lapses in coverage last year, but we had a lot of young guys back there. We did deal with some injuries. So we'll see how that works, and we'll see how that goes. Obviously, my hopes are pretty high for the organization because we finally have what looks like our guy since Andrew Luck retired. We're not going with an older, beat-up guy. We're going with the young guy who just happened to have gotten beat up. Hopefully, it's a one-year thing. Hopefully, that's not a trend. So now let's go on to the AFC South champions, the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans, in my opinion, should have had the coach of the year. They had the offensive rookie of the year as well as the defensive rookie of the year. This team was not supposed to be what this team was. This team was not supposed to be a playoff team. This team, it was supposed to be a problem for Houston and the surrounding talent around a rookie quarterback. But CJ Stroud showed that he was that guy. CJ showed that he is poised. CJ showed that he can play. And CJ showed that he's not going to turn that ball over. He has Nico Collins, really good wide receiver. Tank Dell, really good wide receiver. I would like to see them go out and get another wide receiver. They did re-sign Dalton Schultz. What I want to see the Houston Texans do is surround CJ with even more. They were not a very well rushing attack team. A player like Saquon Barkley could be the Houston Texans version of Christian McCaffrey. And then if they're able to keep Dameon Pierce behind him, you really have a nice solid 1-2 punch. So you don't have to abuse Saquon like the New York Giants did, where he was all they had. Allow him to be an addition, not the main guy, because CJ is going to put the ball where it needs to go. He's going to make the plays that need to be played. And if he, in my opinion, out of all of the AFC teams, all of the AFC quarterbacks, and yes, that is including Joe Burrow, and I know Joe Burrow is the only quarterback so far who has beaten Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. I could see this Houston Texans team defeating Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs in the playoffs. This team defensively is young. Offensively is young. They did not lose much of anything. Their offensive line is intact. Their OC is coming back after taking some head coaching interviews. Their DC is coming back, who's also their head coach. This team is strapped with money, $70 million. They're going to continue to build up this defense. They're going to continue to build up this defensive front. They are picking later in the first round. So in the free agency pool, Christian Wilkins as a defensive tackle, Chase Young as a defensive end, opposite of Will Anderson. You still have Chris Harris, Henry To'o, and I'm pretty sure they'll bring back Blake Cashman. So your three linebackers are pretty much set. Of course, you could bring in some more depth. In the secondary, opposite Derek Stingley, I could definitely see this team going after Xavier Howard, who is a Texas guy, played at the University of Baylor, and he would be a great complement to Derek Stingley. He could actually help and bring Derek Stingley along because Derek Stingley is still a young player, but he's a really, really good player. Jalen Petrie, obviously in the secondary. I would like to see them get a bigger, strong safety. Again, someone who I could see going here, Jamal Adams. You bring Jamal Adams in and you keep Jimmy Ward. Yes, Jamal Adams has a injury history, but he also can bring that attitude and that dog and help the overall tenacity when it comes to the Houston Texans. I don't want to say it, but I think that the Houston Texans are poised to begin running away with the AFC South. The Houston Texans and the Indianapolis Colts, and it all hinges with the Indianapolis Colts with the health of Anthony Richardson. Right now, the Houston Texans head and shoulders above the rest of the class in the AFC South. They are, in my opinion, the AFC South king going forward, and I believe they will be right along the top of the AFC South going into the 2024 postseason. I definitely see this team being able to come a long, long way. The other divisions are going to beat each other up. You have the AFC North. Go back and watch my video. That's a bully league. The AFC West is the Chiefs to lose. You have the other three teams are really trying to rebuild. The AFC South, here we are, looking like the Houston Texans. We'll see. The AFC East, if you go back and watch my video of the AFC East as well, they have a lot of questions everywhere else throughout the AFC except out west in Kansas City. So, again, please like, share, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you guys think. The Jerry Jeudy trade, what you guys think of it. Who did you think won that trade, the Broncos or the Browns? I will be going in and you'll start to see more and more videos from me. This is my last video of the AFC. We're going to the NFC now with the offseason lookout, free agency. What we're going to do, we're going to have, just stay on the lookout, man. I'm going to have mock drafts coming out. I'm going to have free agency grades. I'm going to have free agency predictions. All of this coming up within the coming weeks. But again, please like, share, subscribe. Thank you for your time. Again, I'm D. Welcome to D's Corner. And I plan to be here for a while. Thank you, and